Are you dressing up for Halloween?
This is the dress up.
The salt and pepper old fat man? What was the dress up?
I'm a youthful in disguise. I don't know. I'm the thing.
So well, that's good because since we are reviewing the three, I guess, films or incarnations of the thing, this being the prequel of the John Carpenter's version, that was the version of the 1951's original thing. I have to say, it's very seldom that prequels knock it out of the park. And one being Rogue One,
Oh yeah.
and I have to say, you may not agree, but 2011's The Thing, I felt it was a great prequel or adequate prequel to the original, even though there are so many similarities.
Well, yes. And there's a lot of
And
caveats to adequacy here.
right, let's get into it. Welcome back to A Tales of Two Bros. My name is Angel,
I'm a Don.
where we give a review at least once a week. Spoiler alert, John Carpenter's The Thing was a remake of a black and white film, The Thing from Another Planet. Did I get that right?
Every time. It's a thing from another world.
What did I say? From Another
Another
Planet?
planet.
Tomato, tomato.
Long titles are
Uh,
not your ally.
okay, from another planet, from another world. I almost said it again. Then they made a prequel that no one asked for of the John Carpenter's version
Mm-hmm.
with the same exact title. Like they didn't really change anything. So it made people think that it was a remake of a remake. But as you mentioned on our review of 1982's The Thing, you said that was a prequel. And I was like, huh? Because I never saw it was the first time I seen it.
Yeah.
And then watching it, and I saw the trailer and I text you, I was like, I'm not happy about this.
Yeah, the
But
trailer doesn't
then
help it either.
but watching a movie, I'm like, oh, I see what they're doing here. I see what they're doing here. I see what they're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like some of the stuff they did because it kind of counters what was laid out, like in the Star Wars prequels or the trilogies. They kind of went a different direction in some angles that kept the line with others.
Yeah.
And when I say original, I'm meaning the John Carpenter one, not the black and white version for those who are listening, watching.
Yeah. I
That
mean, for the purpose of this discussion, we'll just say the original is John Carpenter's.
right.
Yeah.
Did you like this prequel?
I liked it more now than when I first saw it. I've seen it a few times, but it's been years since the last time I saw it versus now. Now I've learned more about the drama that was behind the film,
You
and I
went
can
behind the scenes?
behind the scenes. Yeah, there's a lot of production issues that were behind the scenes.
Oh, like what?
Everything was done with practical effects. They did everything with practical effects, and they were only going to use
What?
CGI just to like smooth things out and make it better. And
Oh
after it was
man.
screened, so there's footage out there that is nowhere to be found, but it's been told. You
That
know,
makes
like
no sense.
they didn't keep the footage for the deleted scenes or anything like that. Like
Okay.
people have leaked out this knowledge, like creditable people. They had done all the work, and a lot of people did it at cost, or they actually just because it was like a passion project.
Mhm.
After studios got a hold of it and producers saw it, said redo all those scenes and like just cover it with CGI.
Oh, dude, that's a big mistake because from watching the original, then watching this, it takes away. It's kind of like George Lucas when he did the prequels. He made things even more spectacular in the sense of special effects, which takes away from the beauty of the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
In the original, you have the crazy effects. There, you can tell it's fake, but it's grossly done. It turns your stomach. It's not for the sensitive.
Yeah.
But with the CGI, it takes away on certain ones. Like
Oh yeah, no,
you
yeah.
know,
Certain scenes still pretty good, but like for example, the scene where the thing's on the guy's face, they had a prosthetic for that. When you know that history, it kind of deflates it a little bit because you knew
mhm.
there's a better version that could have been. And this is also another piece of trivia. The director had so many issues with the studio interference that it made him like almost disenfranchised with filmmaking in general, and he
Oh,
retired nearly a decade for nearly a decade, he stopped filmmaking. He's doing it now, but I don't think he's. I think the rumor is that he just swears he will never work with American studio again.
Who was it?
Matthias, and I'm probably just mispronounced it, Van Heiningen Jr. He was a huge fan of The Thing. And when this movie
Okay.
came out, John Carpenter didn't have some nice things to say either. So he's just got totally deflated.
This is a love letter to the original because it ties in a lot of things that were never answered
Yeah.
from the original. In a sense, I was confused out from the trailer first. I'm like, huh? Because in the original, the movie opens up of a helicopter chasing a dog.
Yes.
And then we find out that another station, a Norwegian station,
Mm-hmm.
was destroyed or attacked, what have you. Kurt Russell and one of the doctors go there and they investigate, blah, blah, blah. We see the fort at disarray. We see the ice coffin of the Thing. We see an axe, a
Mm-hmm.
bloody axe on the wall. We see the station all in shambles. We see a burnt dead body outside on the ground, which they take with them.
Yes.
And I thought that was cool because, and originally I thought that was one person whose face was splitting apart.
Now you know
Where
there's
we
a difference.
find out, yes, the director and the writers here, they did a great job overall in a sense of how things came to be without knowing how things came to be. It's like, let's make it this, let's do it like this.
Mm-hmm. Do you
It
know how
was
they came up with the set for that Norwegian base?
no,
So they heavily watched the original.
yes,
And they try to duplicate everything from scene, but the scaling was where they had difficulty. So the one thing they knew was Kurt Russell's height and dimensions. So they used his actual physical height and his head height, and they did it by how many Kurt Russell heads to do the heights and scales.
wow, that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
That's a
when
lot
you
of work.
know there's a video I think is on deep spoilers, like like or heavy spoilers. It's one of the two. They did a video on 2011 Swing, and they talked about that. I'll send it to you because when you know the facts, awesome. They you can
No,
appreciate the movie more
right.
knowing
I
like the
mean,
work they did.
yes, coming from the trailer, I was like, oh, a female lead because she became like the Ripley
Yes, I get that.
from
Yeah,
Aliens, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that aspect. I mean, of course, overall, I didn't mind, but I didn't like the fact because of making the hero female instead of male. And back in the '80s, there's not many female leaders. I mean, granted, what your position was, what have
yeah,
you. Like for Alien, Ripley is in the future, so it's a
correct.
little different, and she has experience of what to do with the alien. Here, this person has no idea. Granted, she's doing it from a science point of view, where in the original there was no science. They were just surviving as best they can with what they got. They had two doctors,
Yeah.
yes, but they weren't in the sense of like
They weren't
hire
ready for
someone
that, or they weren't prepared.
that
She processed everything a lot easier than
right.
like even Blair from the original. Like he flipped and he was like, "I'll kill you! I'll kill you if you come in here."
Right.
That scene where he's
Freaking out at
freaking
the
out
communication.
with the axe in the communications
Yeah.
room. Great scene.
But I mean, she took it more in a science base, but differently than
Mhm.
the other guy, the head Norwegian that hired her.
Yeah.
But it was weird though. It's like they hired her almost as if she was an ice sculpture, like artist, because like we hired
Yeah.
her to just for she can help distract to get that thing out of the ice to help drill to get a sample of it. I was like, huh? Okay, if that makes any sense. I mean, the reason why they hired her was very limited because every time she tried to express her knowledge, she
They
would get
shut her
shut
down.
down.
Yeah.
Right. She was like the most intelligent person of a room of full of idiots. You can watch this and then go right and watch the original.
Yes. Remember I told you, like, if you watch the original, it's like in 4K now.
Yeah.
They kind of do look pretty darn close,
Right. But
quality
not
wise.
really at the same time. Not really. Like Rogue One got it right with the sense of like
Yeah.
facial hair and stuff like that. Where here it didn't really do so much.
Well, I say
Because
like it's close, but no
but
cigar.
yeah, but
Mm.
like the lamb chop sideburns and
Mhm.
I think, it's a little bit different, but that's minor. I was actually happily impressed
Yeah,
with what I saw here overall. Now, faux pas, yes, I do think there are faux pas, like you mentioned before, the use of CGI, which they shouldn't have. They should have kept it practical
yeah.
effect.
I mean, sometimes the
That,
CGI was not bad, but a lot of times it
but at
was
times it
blaring.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like in your face. Like this is yeah. So it was like you took it out. Like again, in the original, we know it's not real. It's practical effect. We
Hmm.
know that. But the way the grossness of it, the horror, if you will, of it brought out
Hmm.
here. I didn't like. Okay, in compared to the first two, the first one is more scarier than this one. I was not
Yes.
scared. I only jumped once. And then when I jumped was when the guy is looking at the ice and he's like smearing it out, trying to see the creature.
Hmm. And it exploded.
And no, that's before that. That's after that when the exploded. And then someone behind him, maybe Lars or someone yelled. "Hey!"
Oh,
And so I jumped because
yes.
yes, you're expecting something to explode up, but it happens after that fact. And it shows us, which is great because we kind of see the original outline of the thing
Hmm.
because in the black and white version is humanoid. When we see him, is somewhat humanoid, but we don't see the original figure. We don't
Yeah.
see the original alien.
It
And
looks
kind
like
of here we kind of
humanoid, slightly insectic, like an
yes,
insect. Yeah.
right is a combination. Yes, we'll go into more faux pas later. But what about characters? Do you have a favorite character?
You gotta love Lars.
Yes,
The
yes. I was going to say anything. Lars was awesome.
the one
He was like
Norwegian who doesn't speak any English, he's not there for his brains, but somehow is the one guy holding down the fort. The female scientist played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
who's married to Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
She's in Ahsoka, and he's of course Obi-Wan. And Lars remind me like the Boba Fett,
Yeah. And
the
he's
one that
holding it
speaks
down. And he's like, this woman knows what she's talking about. She just barks an order. He doesn't understand what she's saying, but he'll do it.
right. The crew recognize
Hmm.
that she's in charge.
Yeah.
What about scenes?
So surprisingly enough, where the star of the show in the movie, the original, was the thing, for me, not as much. Like, I liked some of the scenes without the thing a little bit more. Like when she, with Lars, is trying to give instructions and they're trying to take over and stuff like that. And they're talking directly to Lars in Norwegian. And not talking to her, and they're trying to tell her like she's taking over, or like you see what she's trying to do,
Mhm,
but at that stage you don't know who is the thing. Later on we figure out like one of them is, which leads into the mind games that the creature does, which is great. And I love those
mhm.
moments where we can feel like the creature's actually playing the long game. So those are the moments I was intrigued and good with.
Right.
What about you?
Kind of hard to pinpoint one thing, but I just like everything they did that explained of what happened in the original.
So all
The
the
axe on the wall.
homages.
Yes, the axe on the wall, the cutout of the ice coffin.
Uh-huh.
Because I was like, wait a minute. I was like, how they gonna granted, I think the ice coffin was a little more cleaner in the original,
A little bit
where it looked like it was like completely shaved out in the sense of like the shape of the creature.
from the inside out, yeah.
Because you didn't really see it in the original. The dog at the end, which I was like, wait a minute, then how did that one survive? That one I don't know how they
Because
got that dog.
remember, like they didn't get all the dogs. Remember, the dogs are one of the first things that attacked.
Right, but I thought it was just one dog that got hit because they showed one dog like chewing on the fence,
Hmm.
and then the dog was dead. So I thought it was just one dog.
No, I thought they had
There's
more than one dog.
I didn't see multiple dogs. I mean, it only makes sense because Lars is like, our dog is dead. That's
Hmm.
not our dog. Do you
Yeah,
understand?
yeah. But like you
How did
said,
that?
like it always splits off a piece. So all it needed was like a piece to be split off when it was consuming the dog, because it
That one
jumped
that got the
out the
dog?
wood. Yeah.
But no, the one that got the dog, I think is the one that specimen, the little specimen that they took out
Oh, maybe.
because everything was blown up. The one in the ship was
Yeah.
killed. The aliens were all blown up. But that one little sample, which they didn't show in the sense like did it break or what have you,
Could have grown.
could have grown. And then, yes,
Yes.
and probably, that's maybe a faux pas there. But yeah, everything like I think like that I'll replace stuttering here, the repeating of the acts, the coffin, the guy who killed himself.
Yeah, that was the Jonathan Walker who played Colin.
They didn't show him slit his wrist and slit his throat.
No, they showed the after. And like throughout the movie, like you suspect at times that he was infected, but he wasn't. He just didn't want to be infected.
Right, but we didn't know that. Like, it would have been nice to have seen that in a sense. Maybe not see the action of it, but see him grabbing the knife, the
Yeah,
shaver,
the lead up
and
to it.
and or like yeah, him freaking out that he's about to do it. Like we get that answer there.
Yeah, something
So
that foreshadows, like maybe he carries the razor around all the time.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, like they don't show that. No, they show though he is very intelligent though. Like he knows something is up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but I would just have like seen yes him like one time having the knife in his hand, the shaver, or he's at the communication and he can't reach out, he's freaking out, whatever, blah blah blah,
yeah,
and then he just does what he does. And so it just makes me laugh. And they know they show it missing the dog, just like in the beginning of the original, missing the dog. It's like those are terrible shots. I don't get it. And then was it Lars that released the grenade?
no, no, no. So it was the pilot.
It was the pilot that slipped out of his hand,
Yeah,
and it was Lars that was trying to pick. No,
yeah, because it was
no,
Griggs
no.
that. Yeah, because Lars is the one that was shot the one guy in the knee
Right, and
and he
then
was
he shoots him.
yelling.
Right. Right. Then he got shot. There are similarities here, especially in the sense of the flamethrowers. I guess that's what you got. Is what you got.
I know everybody has to have a flamethrower.
I guess so. In an ice cold place, which I don't understand why, but I guess okay, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
I also liked though they had the roundup in a sense of like who's who,
Hmm.
and it was kind of smart. This thing cannot recreate non-organic material.
Yeah.
In the original, they round up each other to figure out who's what, who's who. They burnt the blood. If the blood felt any threat, it will react,
Correct.
and that was cool with for that. And here it was the dentures.
Yeah, like if you have
Well,
fillings or
right?
caps. Hmm.
Yes. Well, not really caps. I guess you can't really tell, but with the fillings, yes, you could.
Yeah, basically, if
You
you
know,
had anything artificial in you, a part of you, that gets
mhm.
rejected.
We saw that at the end where
Mhm.
Homeboy, who played Lars in the prequels,
Oh, you talk about Joel Edgerton, who
yes,
played Carter. Yeah.
right. He was in the prequels there, and
Hmm.
also in Obi-Wan as well. But anyway, yeah, the ending where she knows is not him because of the earring's not there
And he grabs the
on
wrong
his,
ear.
and he grabs the wrong ear.
There's a fan theory that says that he might have not actually been the thing. Also, one of the original things that was changed was they didn't have the scream, the thing's scream, like that you hear the alien scream. So
I thought it did.
it did. That was also another thing that they added into production, like after. Again, this part is take it with a grain of salt. Now, this is just head canon, but I heard that was added in afterwards.
After when?
When they told him to do more CGI, and like one of the things they decided to do after the fact.
But okay, because he did scream in that manner.
No, when he got ignited, yeah. So he started screaming, and then it turned
Yeah.
into the scream of the thing.
Oh, from the director wanted no thing sound
Yeah, maybe just cut
to
out the
make
sound entirely.
to maybe probably make you guess if it was actually him or not.
Yeah. Hmm.
But that makes no sense with all the action going on where he
I mean,
knows.
it's the end of the film.
Right, but if he grabs the wrong ear, I mean, if he lost his earring,
Yeah.
say in a fight with what have you, whatever, he should have. It should have been like some kind of blood or ripped from it from any kind of stress.
I don't know. I
If the ear,
mean,
if the earring,
I knew plenty of girls that they were like, "Where's my earring?" And it just falls out.
I
He
guess
got
so.
thrown around a couple times in that ship.
Right, he should have been like majorly bruised up,
Yeah.
like right, and he wasn't. Since we were told in the original that it was a Norwegian base,
Yeah.
it was nothing but Norwegians. Why are there Americans there? But
Yeah.
you would think that the American base from the original knew that was Americans over there too, in a sense, but they made it strictly Norwegian.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I don't think the female was needed. It ends with her. She's the last survivor.
Yeah.
Does she go to Russia as suggested?
That's the thing. So The idea is one or two things could have happened. Either she got stuck out there and just died in the cold, or she did head off to the Russian base. I think the video game actually goes off of that ending where she goes off to the Russian base and Russian
Okay.
soldiers go to the original location with Kurt Russell.
What?
Like it's either in the comic or in the game where the Russians find Kurt Russell's
So
character
Kurt Russell's still alive as well.
in like one of the iterations, yeah, and
So what
child,
happened
and as
to?
well as child's.
Oh, so okay.
There's other
I don't.
stories that like explain if they are the thing or not, and then
Right.
other versions on top of that. So
So to
those
me,
you gotta
like,
take with a grain of
yeah,
salt.
to me, she was not needed. Even though I find it a great prequel, it should have been nothing but Norwegians and talking in their native tongue. In the sense of we're reading subtitles.
And you would love that, and I'm
I
okay
would
with
have.
that.
Yeah.
But a good portion of audience members out there probably wouldn't be down for a
Oh,
full-on foreign film.
I think it would have been great. Just because they deal in a different way, you hear their language and you hear their anguish in their native language.
I
It
think
would
that
just
would have
been.
been cool if they did it. If you did this entire film like that, right?
Mhm,
And still introduce the female character. Let's pander to some audiences out there,
mhm.
and say she's American, but keep the Norwegian speaking Norwegian, and you have only one or two people translating for her, kind of like Shogun.
Yeah.
Would you feel like it's more intense? Like your only translator could be the thing
Yes. Should be
because it
saying
does lie 100%.
right.
There's multiple
Oh,
times and
it lied.
manipulates.
It lied with the girl
The hallway
saying that.
scene when the pilots break in, and he's like, take the shot," and they're like, "Don't do it." And then it turns out the guy's the thing, the one who's telling him to take the shot.
Okay, but do we see the helicopter in the original that fell?
Oh, you're talking about the one that crashed?
The crash because
I don't
one of
believe
the
so because it crashed off site. Remember, it went off to the side, and
right, and
yeah,
those two guys survived.
yeah, and they had to track through
So
the snow
so could it be safe to say that the thing is still alive? They could
potentially.
do they could do another sequel or
Hmm.
what have you,
Hmm.
because we know when it's frozen, it doesn't mean it's dead. You have to burn it like beyond recognition.
Exactly.
You have
Even
to.
then, there's still a possibility of
Well,
it
yeah,
still being
because
alive.
the one with the two faces, the two heads, it
Hmm.
was burnt, but it did not die. It only seemed like it died because it was frozen.
Yeah, it was not ash, you know.
Right.
Mhm.
And so that helicopter crash, it doesn't mean that they were done or it was done
Yeah,
because it could have, from the fall survived the crash, escaped, yes, burnt and charred, what have you, but it could have still lived. I won't be mad about that. And that would be a perfect opportunity to have Russell and the son play him. The son play because they look
yeah, they
exactly
look
alike.
very much alike. Like in
The
another
same,
10 to 15 years, we get another Thing movie.
and then yes, and the girl come back together, and they are like the only ones that know pretty much hand
Oh,
in
and
hand.
bring her back?
Yes, so
Oh,
the
I can
two
see
work
that.
together. The two work together because she survived,
Uh-huh.
he survived, and Charles survived. Who will play Charles? I don't know. If they want to break that story, because of course in the original we don't know, they don't know who's who, so they don't kill each other, but nor do they, they just wait it out at the end of the original.
That's
I
wild.
mean,
Yeah, I can see
yeah,
that.
it's like the alien,
Yeah.
like the perfect killing specimen.
And that was the interesting thing. Like, so we were talking about food pause earlier, right? In my opinion, they treated the thing in the prequel more like Aliens 2, where like it was more
Well, Ripley,
everywhere. Well,
yeah,
you got Ripley, right? And then you see the creature more often, and it's like just popping out all over the place, and then it's attacking
mm,
more
mm,
often. Where the other one was very strategic before it even tries to attack, and a lot of times it attacked off
right.
camera.
Did you get Jurassic Park vibe
I
at
mean,
one
you could
time?
you could argue that too, absolutely,
No, but did you get it? Because I did.
because of the arm, Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh no, no, I got because it was chasing Carter into the kitchen,
Oh yeah.
and then in Jurassic Park you have the kitchen scene with the kids, and
Hmm.
it's sneaking in. Of course, it gets saved by her, but it was just kind of funny that I was like, hey, same, pretty much same thing, hiding. Then so it did have that feel. I don't know. It's
But
just
well, here's what I'm thinking. Like for me, Aliens, fantastic movie, love it. I don't feel that that kind of vibe works for the thing because it's that suspense, that not knowing that the
hmm
thing can attack off camera, like you don't know who's who. When it's just attacking just to attack, like the helicopter, the crash, there was no reason for it to reveal itself there,
right.
and
None
it did.
exactly.
You know,
Maybe. Well, no, but maybe because since it was going somewhere, it wanted to infect the others so it can infect others because it's like a virus.
yes, but
So
it's also knows and it has knowledge. Like as we talked about in the original, it's building a UFO out of scraps. It can still pilot its ship in this one. It's full on intelligent and knows like if I attack, it should know is what I'm saying. That if I
mhm,
attack and cause a ruckus in a flying vehicle, this vehicle is probably going to crash.
maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it thought it could handle it right. I mean, that scene was so unnecessary in the sense of how it exposed itself. The full chest opening up. Why?
Yeah, no, no.
The,
Well,
the, the
that's
chest.
also with Juliet. There's scenes where it responds and attacks lightning fast, and then there's scenes where it takes like a full minute for it to reveal itself.
Like in the original, like the dog
Uh,
when it started to transform or to
well, like when the dog
attack the
transformed,
other
it was
dogs.
attacking the other dogs relatively quickly.
Right, but what I'm saying though, it was like it was doing that in that sense, but it didn't do anything like crazy. It didn't try to kill it. It didn't try to kill the other dogs. All it tried to do was take over the other dogs or simulate the
Hmm.
other dogs to
Hmm.
clone it, what have you, to make it its own. And you would think that that's what they were trying to do here. Yes, it felt more in a horror aspect in the sense of kill, 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 instead of assimilate, assimilate, assimilate.
Kind of. Well, I mean, it was eventually assimilating. Like I'm sure
Right.
the
No,
one who
but
played Jonas from Game of Thrones, Christopher Heavesju, am I saying that right? At given time, it would have probably turned into him.
right, but it gave that aspect. I'm just going to kill you.
Yeah, the feel of it. Yeah, it just
Yeah, not like I'm going to take over you.
yeah. Hmm.
In the original, yes, it was like I'm going to take over this one, and like chess, I'm going to take over this, and then I'll take over here, and like I'll spread out. I'll spread out, just
Felt very chess like. Yes.
like a virus. So that's the only thing also that I felt I had trouble with because it wasn't as strategic like we saw in the original.
The only thing I can think of, and if we're being like devil's advocates here, maybe it was going less, let's take over, more, let me get back to my ship kind of situation. If it was just
Or
trying to get back to civilization or head to the base, it would have just done that. Instead, it
Mhm,
went back to its ship. We don't know if it was
right,
trying to get off planet and just go elsewhere.
or ask for help,
Or that too,
right? Like call it SOS. But
because there was a
how
signal
about
that was given off from the ship.
right? But how about this? Since this is a prequel,
Yeah.
its first go around was a failure. Let me just attack, 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 attack. It learned from that,
And then starts.
hence the strategy in the original.
You could say that too.
That makes more sense if you're doing that, if you approach it that way.
Let
Dog,
them do their own damage
yes.
because they'll turn on them. And like you could see in the prequel, they turn on themselves. The smart play, which is what was done in the original, let them turn on themselves. You
But
don't have to
but at the same
antagonize more. You just have to like leave the seeds.
right, but the thing is they don't want to antagonize anyone in actuality because they want to control the planet.
No, no,
Like a
I don't
virus,
disagree. That's what I'm saying. Like you just
yeah.
stay quiet, let things play out. If it's not looking your way, let them turn on. You just put the seeds down for them to turn against each other, not
Mm,
against you.
mhm,
It's like that game,
okay.
like we talked about before, the game of Werewolf. You play the long con. Well, it's a
Now
con too.
it was also obvious who was the thing
At
on
some
that
points,
roundup. Well, on the roundup. Well,
yeah.
Kimberly, she knew it was the girl.
Juliet, yeah.
Yeah, she knew it was her. I was like, that's her. I was like, yeah, it's like, yeah, that's her.
I
She's
don't
one of them.
trust her.
And then she exposes herself. I was like, yep, you're right. But also the guy in the roundup, when they're checking the teeth, the guy just straight up refused
There was two
and
guys that
just walked.
refused.
No, one said, I have porcelain teeth.
Yeah.
So he went. He said that. The other guy said nothing and just walked.
Hmm.
And then we find out that he's the thing. If you're not going to expose yourself at all or say anything,
Yeah.
Come
I
on.
mean, why bother if you know you don't have, bad teeth, why bother showing your teeth if you know they're just gonna put you to the side anyways? I don't have caps or fillings. I could show
Neither do I.
exactly.
And I would be dead. I'm like, I'm all right, burn me.
I
I
was
was
like,
like,
we have to find a better system.
I know.
Like, I think one guy even said it. He was like, so my life is dependent on how well I keep my like how clean my teeth are.
No, that's the blonde dude. He says, so, he says, yeah, to that effect, but
Because I
how
brush my
much I
teeth.
floss? No, I floss.
I mean, good call out.
Then we see it later. It's not about just that, but also the earring.
Mhm.
But on Rotten Tomatoes, it is scored at 34% by the critics and 43% by the audience. I have to say, this is way too low of a scoring. It needs to be higher. I would give it into the 70s. For the job it did, and it says tell you what led to the opening scene of the original, I
Mhm.
think they did a great job. Does it have flaws? Of course. But what about you? Where do you see your scoring at?
Back in the day when I first saw it, I would have been more with the audience and critics. Now I'm with you. It deserves to be a lot higher than that criticism. 75.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
of the three films, number one will be the original, 1982, with Kurt Russell. Right?
Hmm.
I kind of like Thing from Another World more than this one. It's weird.
Really?
It's weird, just to be frank, because I find it fascinating what they did in that original. To of the
Oh,
1952, and to see all those things as it was done, hilarious too because of the dialogue. But go ahead, your point.
did you or did you not scream, close the door when the doors opened up?
No, but I should have. I
I
should have
did. I did. When we did a review on the black and white one. Now, when I see that, I now I say it
for the 1951 one. Yes.
because they were opening it a lot
Oh
here and
yeah,
there.
absolutely.
And the spaceship, uh,
The spaceship
I don't know. When I
heavily
saw,
CGI.
oh, of course,
The mosaic CGI thing that was like blue and yellow
yeah.
that was just floating. That was supposed to have an alien pilot there, like the body of an alien pilot.
So there's the pilot was waiting.
No, it was like the corpse body, kind of like in the original Alien, where you have like the giant pilot in the ship when they found the
Mhm.
egg,
Right. Okay.
kind of like that.
I would like to see this Predator versus Alien versus the Thing. Those three come together. I would like to see the Thing versus Predator or the Thing versus Alien. I would like to see the Thing versus Alien, or I'm sorry, the Thing versus Predator.
So, well, Thing versus Predator will be interesting concept, like as a comic. That'd be a great comic, actually.
Not Earth, but like a home planet
Yeah,
kind of
which one
thing. Where
becomes the hunter, or can the predator not get infected while like hunting the thing? That kind of
Mhm.
situation.
Yeah,
I could see that being really cool. What would be interesting to me is can the thing assimilate the alien xenomorph because its blood is like
is
high
acid,
is essentially acid and corrosive.
but that would be kind of cool too. While it's trying,
Yeah, or vice versa. Can it be impregnated by a face hugger?
that's probably the only way.
But then, which
It ha-
is it? Would it be more xenomorph or more thing?
Or probably more xenomorph with the Thing attributes, which will make it a total
New species.
new species, but also the perfect soldier. Because aliens, they doesn't matter they don't breathe. It doesn't matter if they don't eat.
Yeah, I mean they can
They
survive
still
in space.
they could right exactly. Where here, it doesn't matter if it freezes.
Hmm.
But then does it kill itself if the blood is exposed and says the acid falls on itself? So you have to blow it up. But then everything else that it touches gets destroyed as well
Yeah.
because the blood will be acid.
Huh. Okay.
For those who are in comics and writers, there you go. There's your project. All right, guys, that is our review of The Thing. By the way, why is it still called The Thing? Why can't it call it something else? Why not call it The Creature from Another Planet or World? They
And
should
like
call it
finish the
that.
title,
Yes, The Thing from the original,
and
and
then
then
from another world.
from Another World.
You
Because
know what?
it,
That probably would have worked.
yeah, because the thing is like the thing, because that's where the confusion happens too. In a sense, people don't know. That's probably why one of the scores are so low on this because they think it's a remake of the original, which is a remake of another original. So you have that. Like it's like why they.
And I do remember when this came out, I talked to some people and they were still confused. Like even after watching it, they're like, "That was a
Mhm.
horrible remake." I'm like, "That's not a remake. That's a prequel." And they're like,
Right.
"Oh," like it just clicked to them.
Says everything leads up to the opening scene of the original of the dog running around, then the title works together because the both titles will pay homage to the original film, the black and white one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they should have done.
Shoulda, coulda. Just mismanagement of how they handled the thing overall, and get rid of change the characterization, change the CGI, and I think we'd be good.
All right, guys, that is our review of 2011's The Thing. Again, should be creature from another planet. Have you seen it? What was your favorite moment? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Until next time, we'll be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm a Don.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.